China's wealthy households decrease as rich opt to run ahead of common prosperity. Chongqing petitioners were paraded through streets, public outcry, a violation of human rights. Sichuan wildfire rages for 6 days, threatens 1,000-year-old temple. Banner displayed outside Keqiang's former residence features incendiary article by Lu Sun. Tim Cook's unexpected meeting with star in Shanghai as iPhone sales decline in China. It's all covered in today's China Truths. China's wealthy households decrease as rich opt to run ahead of common prosperity. The Huruan Research Institute's 2023 Huruan Wealth Report reveals a slight dip in China's wealthy households as of January 1, 2023. The report shows a decrease across all wealth categories. Affluent families with assets of at least 6 million yuan, about $833,400, dropped by 0.3%, high net worth families with 10 million yuan, around $1.4 million, decreased by 1%, and ultra-high net worth families with over 100 million yuan, nearly $14 million, saw a 3.4% reduction. The largest decline was among international ultra-high net worth families with $30 million in assets, falling by 4.1%. Excluding Hong Kong and Macau, mainland China's figures also saw similar declines. Wealth concentration is highest in metropolitan areas like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, with the top 30 cities accounting for 67% of all affluent families, a slight decrease from the previous year. Meanwhile, smaller central and western cities face more significant challenges. Rupert Hugworth, head of the Huruan Report, noted that factors like the COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical shifts have injected uncertainty into the global economy, affecting private wealth globally. This marks China's second wealth decline in 15 years, with a total wealth reduction of 3.6% to 158 trillion yuan, about $21.9 trillion, equal to 1.3 times China's GDP. A few years back, the Oriental Morning Post in mainland China ran a story titled "Where Do China's Super Rich Come From?", revealing many mainland big shots have ties to the party, government, and military sectors. Wang Jianlin, chairperson of the Wanda Group, outright admitted the challenge mainland moguls face avoiding bribery. Plenty of rich listers have found themselves behind bars under the Chinese Communist Party, unable to dodge imprisonment. In truth, there's a bunch of hidden tycoons with red backgrounds in mainland China, and some names on the rich lists might just be their frontmen. Moreover, with mainland China's political scene tightening up, an increasing number of Chinese rich folks are voting with their feet and making a quick exit. They're after asset security, quality education for their kids, and the liberty of clean air. Xi Jinping's chant of the East rises and the West falls, alongside his economic strategies, like shared prosperity, financial stability, adjusting excessively high incomes reasonably, and straightening out income distribution, has got the wealthy worried. The CCP's push for communist-style wealth redistribution seems to be ramping up. United Nations data shows a steady increase in wealthy Chinese moving abroad over the past decade. The 2022 Global Wealth Migration Report indicated that 10.7323 million Chinese have moved overseas, with a significant portion of wealthy entrepreneurs either having relocated or considering it. On the flip side, the CCP is increasingly clamping down, trying to prevent these wealthy individuals from taking their riches and leaving. But looking at China's massive population of over 1 billion, the vast majority really aren't rolling in dough, many are downright poor. There's a common expression of resignation among the people: "I'm the reason the average wage is so low, I'm the one holding the country back." Straight Talk on the Chinese internet has even pointed out that earning a monthly salary above 5,000 yuan, about $695, already puts you ahead of most. Chongqing petitioners were paraded through streets, public outcry, a violation of human rights. For years, the Chinese Communist Party's forced demolitions have caused an uproar among those wronged, leaving petitioners with no way to seek justice and instead facing crackdowns and shame. Recently, a video has made the rounds online showing Chongqing petitioners being publicly shamed by being marched through the streets. In the video, several women, clad in detention center attire, are handcuffed and led by police for a public spectacle. Petitioners spoke to NTD reporters, saying that these women are farmers from Chongqing's Nannan district. They've lost their land and homes due to government-enforced land grabs and demolitions. Seeking to fight for their rights, they were met with suppression from the authorities. The incident has triggered a surge of anger among the public. Many folks are voicing their criticism, saying, "This is a violation of human rights. Where are the human rights if petitioning isn't a crime? Down with the corrupt. Down with the corrupt." One Chongqing resident declared, "There's nothing wrong with petitioning. Defending the legitimate rights and interests of citizens, there's nothing wrong with petitioning." Another resident voiced, "You guys have become utterly lawless, thinking you can do whatever you want. Hitting people? Make sure to get it all on camera if you do." Mr. Sun, a Chongqing petitioner, shared, "Who were those paraded? Real, down-to-earth rural people. They've done nothing wrong, they were just trying to petition rightfully. And then, they're detained and paraded. Seeing that video, they rob people of their homes, their land, and then drag them through the streets. Isn't that vile? These ordinary folks are deeply wronged." It's reported that in China, there are on average 500 protests over rights defense every day, with forced demolitions making up 60%. Mr. Sun and Ms. Zhang from Chongqing have both faced forced demolitions, with virtually no compensation provided. They criticize that all of them are corrupt officials. There's no law to hold them, no power against them. They took all the money from our collective, our entire collective's funds. How are we supposed to live? Sichuan wildfire rages for 6 days, threatens 1,000-year-old temple. The Keqiang wildfire in Sichuan has been raging for 6 days since March 15 without any sign of being extinguished. Entire villages have gone up in flames. Furthermore, the millennium-old Pamuling Temple in Keqiang County is under threat. Footage has captured Pamuling Temple being besieged by a colossal forest fire, with the flames looking set to swallow the whole temple as the sky is cloaked in dense smoke. Several monks could be seen making prayers on the grounds outside the temple, in hopes that the blaze would spare it. At this point, it's not known if this age-old temple has suffered any damage from the fire. Pamuling Temple, a Tibetan Buddhism Kagyu sect monastery, sits on a small plateau on Dongga Mountain in Bajialu Township, Keqiang County, at an elevation of 4,120 meters. Hundreds of firefighters from Sichuan and Yunnan are on the scene trying to extinguish the fire surrounding Pamuling Temple. Videos have captured several homes in Jianibao village, Keqiang County, being consumed by the wildfire. According to one villager, it appears that more than a dozen homes were totally lost to the fire. For locals, gathering matsutake mushrooms in the mountains is their primary source of income. One woman from the village mentioned that it could take over a decade for the matsutake mushrooms to regrow after being hit by the wildfire, which would have a significant impact on the villagers. Currently, over 2,000 individuals from Sichuan and Yunnan have been mobilized for firefighting efforts, along with 6 helicopters for patrols and firefighting. The wildfire has forced the evacuation of 46 households or 170 villagers from Xiaola Town and Bajialu Township in Keqiang County. There are circulating rumors that 3 firefighters have died and 1 was injured in the wildfire, claims that officials are calling false. Given the CCP's tendency to conceal the truth about disasters, the actual situation remains unverifiable from the outside for now. In addition to Sichuan, a forest fire broke out in Guangming Village, Sichuan Town, Yangbi Autonomous County, Dali Prefecture, Yunnan, on March 18. By the 19th, the visible flames were extinguished, and the site has moved into the cleanup and watch phase. Netizens are expressing their distress, saying, "What's happening these days?" Wildfires in Ganzi, Sichuan, Chongqing, and now Yunnan too. Banner displayed outside Li Keqiang's former residence features incendiary article by Lu Sun. Starting this year, the CCP's 2 sessions eliminated the traditional post-closure press conference with the premier, drawing renewed attention to the late Premier Li Keqiang, who passed away suddenly on October 27, 2023, only 8 months after he stepped down in March 2023. Reporters specifically visited Li Keqiang's ancestral home in Anhui during the 2 sessions period. Everything seems to have returned to normal, except for a new cloth banner hanging on the railing that carries the words of the writer Lu Xun, published in the magazine New Youth in 1919. I hope the youth of China will all break free from the cold air and just move upwards, not listening to those who talk of self-destruction. Those who can do something should do it, those who can speak should speak out. If you have even a little heat, emit a little light, it can be like a firefly. You can shine a little light in the darkness, no need to wait for a torch. If there are no torches afterward, I shall be the only light. Lu Xun, a key figure in modern Chinese literature whose real name was Zhou Shuren, was once championed by the Communist Party as a leftist writer, well known for his critical views of the Beiyang government. Some of Lu Xun's writings even made their way into CCP educational materials, though there's been chatter lately about them being phased out, sparking online debates over whether the authorities see his messages as too provocative or rebellious. According to an article by the Central News Agency, it's thought that the cloth banner quoting Lu Xun was hung up after the wave of public mourning for Li Keqiang had died down, otherwise, it might have been taken down along with the floral tributes. Last year, at the end of October, Shanghai's Halloween parade saw lots of young folks dressing up not just for fun but also to throw some shade at how the government was handling the pandemic and the overall state of affairs. Among the crowd, someone was spotted dressed as Lu Xun, complete with a traditional robe, a fake mustache, and a sign declaring, "Medicine can't cure what ails the Chinese people." The story reveals that critical thinking is still very much alive among Shanghai's youth. A teacher in Shanghai recounted how her high school students would ask probing questions during tutoring, such as, "Do you really believe in communism?" One student even looked around anxiously and whispered, "Are we being watched?" In another instance, a student pondered aloud whether it was better to remain aware or pretend to be oblivious, even mentioning Orwell's writings. The teacher expressed to journalists her encouragement at witnessing this level of independent thought persist despite the onslaught of propaganda, saying, "It shows that the spirit of free thought can't be completely suppressed." Yet, she also remarked on the reality that in China, not everyone awake to the issues around them feels empowered to act, even when witnessing injustice up close. "Not everybody's got the guts like Peng Lifeng," she said, referring to the man hailed as a hero for his bold protest on the Sichuan bridge. Still, she's hopeful, seeing that not all of the younger generation has been swayed by the party line. In the lead-up to Xi Jinping securing a third term at the CCP's 20th National Congress, Peng Lifeng made headlines on October 13, 2022, for his daring act of dissent in Beijing, where he was promptly arrested. Peng's protest banners, which demanded basic needs over political compliance and called for Xi's resignation, struck a chord and went viral. "We want food, not nucleic acid tests. We want freedom, not lockdowns. We want dignity, not lies. We want reform, not the Cultural Revolution. We want votes, not a leader. Let's be citizens, not slaves," including a call to action: go on strike at school and work, remove dictator and national traitor Xi Jinping. This act of defiance was followed by the widespread White Paper movement in late November 2022, a national outcry against draconian lockdowns, with students across the country stepping up to make their voices heard. Tim Cook's unexpected meeting with star in Shanghai as iPhone sales decline in China. Apple CEO Tim Cook took to Weibo on the 20th to share he's landed in Shanghai, spilling that he kicked off his morning with a walk along the Bund with actor Zheng Kai and savored a traditional Shanghai breakfast. This scoop quickly caught fire online, grabbing major attention. Zheng Kai, or Ryan Zheng, for those not in the know, is a well-known Chinese actor. Cook didn't stop there. He updated his Weibo a couple more times to let everyone know he swung by director Lu Mo's production studio and chatted with the brains behind a folding paper game company. The paper reported that in the afternoon of the same day, Wang Chuanfu, the big boss of BYD Company Limited, showed up at Apple's China HQ in Shanghai for a meetup with Cook. The day was packed, with Apple partners like BYD Electronics, Lens Technology, and Chongqing Precision flaunting their tech smarts and the bits and bobs they make for Apple. Turns out, BYD hopped on the Apple bandwagon back in 2008, starting off by machining metal casings. Now, they're knee-deep, supplying glass, structural bits, and putting together a bunch of product lines, iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch included. During a Shanghai interview reported by China Daily, Cook reflected, "Truth be told, we've been beefing up our supply chain here in China and ramping up our investments for the past 30 years. The factories are pretty cutting edge now, but fast forward 10 years, and today's cutting edge might not look so sharp, because we're always pushing forward." Cook dropped a hint too that Apple's generative AI is set to make headlines later this year. Ahead of Cook's visit, Apple had already buzzed about launching a new retail spot in Jing'an, Shanghai, on March 21st. This Apple Jing'an store, tucked into Jing'an Plaza right in Shanghai's heart, spans 3,835 square meters and is a whopping investment of 83.4 million yuan, about $11.6 million US, marking Apple's 57th store in the Greater China area. Apple has stores in 16 provinces, regions, cities, across mainland China, per their official site, with Shanghai boasting the highest count. For the record, 2023 saw Cook hitting China twice. In March 2023, Cook popped up in Beijing's Sanlitun Apple store, marking his first visit in 4 years, and later took part in the China Development Forum. There, he pointed out, for Apple, China's not just a manufacturing hub but also a booming consumer market. It's a win-win relationship for both. Then, in a swift return 7 months later in October 2023, Cook was spotted at the Apple store in Chengdu's Taikoo, and during the trip, he also toured the factory of Luxshare Precision, one of the links in Apple's supply chain. Apple under pressure as US eyes broader sanctions against Huawei. Apple's iPhone sales in China dropped 24% in the year's first 6 weeks, according to Counterpoint Research. The company's first quarter report for the 2024 fiscal year, ending December 2023, revealed a nearly 13% decline in Greater China, despite growth in other markets. Meanwhile, Huawei's smartphone sales soared by 64%, overtaking Apple to claim the second spot with a market share increase from 9.4% to 16.5%. The overall Chinese smartphone market, however, shrank by 7%. Counterpoint's senior analyst, Mengmeng Zhang, stated, "Apple is squeezed by Huawei's fierce competition in the premium segment and aggressive pricing from companies like Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi." Notably, despite Huawei's recent successes, including the launch of the 5G-equipped Mate 60 series, Bloomberg reports that the US is contemplating blacklisting Chinese semiconductor firms linked to Huawei, such as Qingdao Hisense, Suisure, and Shenzhen Pengzongsu Technology, PST, following significant technological advancements. Chinese firms and the Ministry of Commerce have yet to respond. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.